So when I first got it, I was pain in the ass. But Sarah was on a Zoom call.
That seems so unusual to me.
I know.
Because you are
amazing.
Welcome to the Two Authors Podcast, an entertaining chat show hosted by best-selling mystery and thriller authors Douglas Pratt and Nicholas Harvey, in lively, humorous and informative conversation with distinguished guests who share their thoughts and experience about forging a successful author career.
Welcome to this week's show, brought to you always by our good friends over at Vellum, the world's best, fabulous, and sexiest formatting solution available. And I mean, have you seen those pages after Vellum? Man, some of those are super sexy. So
I thought you were saying the Brads are sexy.
Well, the Brads are sexy, but
That's true.
only when they wear those cool shirts we give them. So
that's true too.
But also, a big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. And if you feel like you enjoy us and you think that we have something intelligent to say, then you're probably watching the wrong show. So
I was going to say, where are you going with this, Doug?
If you enjoy us nonetheless, then we would really appreciate if you jump over to patreon.com/the Two Authors Podcast and just, you can check it out. There's a few extra in the free tier, but for just a couple of dollars, you're helping support us and keeping the show going because it's a passion project for you and I, but it's kind of nice when people want to, support us. So it's kind of cool.
Absolutely. And there's some incredible nuggets and lots of bonus. It's packed with bonus stuff. Packed.
We're getting some lots of stuff in there. So today, but hey, we got some fun guests today. We got a really cool one, Sarah Usera from BooksFlyer.com. So let's chat with her.
Sarah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm super honored to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you. It's awesome.
Absolutely. How's sunny Spain?
Beautiful. It's already beginning to be cold, but yeah, I cannot complain. With the sun, you can never complain, to be fair.
It's always good.
It's true.
Good.
I mean, it does get sunny in Antarctica sometimes, so... I'm just saying.
I'll add the degrees, I guess. The degrees is also something.
Degrees do help a little bit, so just to point out that, yeah.
Okay, so BooksFlyer is this brilliant tool, software. Tell us about BooksFlyer, what it does, and then we'll get on to how you started it.
So BooksFlyer is a software that optimizes your bids on Amazon, and it does so based on how much you're spending per target and how much you're earning. Really, that's the core. We use a set of rules. We also use a setting so as to know how much money you make from your sales and your reads. And this is what helps us optimize the bids in the end. You
developed this, right? You wrote the code for this.
I had to pay an agency. I mean, I do know Python, but I could never build an app straight from the core. However, I did do the whole product management, the whole design of it. And then I got an agency to help me build the basis, just the skeleton of the app. And once I tested it and saw that it worked, then eventually that became something a bit more structured with a developer to work with me properly on it. And yeah, it sort of became bigger. First, just trying it on my clients, then doing a private beta with a few authors to also use themselves, and then eventually just making it public.
Brilliant. And when did this happen? When did it come about?
When did it start? It started in, I think, 2023, where I started to think about it and just hire someone in Upwork to just help me with the concept idea. Because, I was so sick, honestly, of just looking at the dashboard in Amazon and just feeling desperate, going campaign per campaign and thinking, because I come from marketing, from using Salesforce, Google Analytics, huge, massive marketing technologies where everything is automated, everything is rule-based. And then I come and then I see Amazon and I'm like, what is wrong with this? How is it that, because I also saw that alternatives, there's Perpetua, there are other tools that also do bid optimization. However, they were not good for authors. There were no alternatives that were good for publishing at all. So I was like, okay, there needs to be something done. And so after checking the documentation of Amazon ads, checking that there was an API, checking a few things that made sense to actually make a proof of concept. That's when I contacted this guy to help me out, then do it myself, test it with my own clients. Obviously, I had to be like super well aware during that time of what was going on, just making sure that there was no wrong data gathering or data changes. And eventually, after a few months, I could use it myself and I could safely feel that I could move it on to the rest of my clients. Then is when I started to say, okay, let's just I posted it on, I asked permission of Robert Ryans to post it on his group if he thought it could be useful for the group, for a small fee. Because in the end, what I wanted was engagement. I didn't want people just to go in for free and then say, well, I'm already in it, and then just check mark it. Like, I needed people that actually felt some sort of engagement to give me feedback. Because, of course, I knew it was useful for me, but whether that was useful for other people, then that was another matter. And and after that, after keeping it private and at a low fee, I decided to leave it open with the different plan settings, which I also asked for this user, which I also asked these users. And and so since then, it's been growing slowly. But I've also, in the end, I was able to scale up the amount of authors that I managed from, 5 to 6 in Amazon to 20 different authors. And it's not taking into account the series that I can manage within these authors. And then also having other authors do that. Well, in the end, I feel like it has been a good achievement, and it's something super positive about the app, and that speaks well that after all this time, in the end, it's kept on working solidly, even with Amazon ads changes in the algorithm or whatnot.
They change constantly, right?
Daily, isn't it? I think they changed while we've been talking. They were like, no, we're going to change it.
I think so, yeah. They were thinking, maybe we should do this and also not tell you about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I've been cussing Amazon ads all morning about something else altogether. So that's been...
Sometimes it drives me nuts. Like, how is this even possible? But then, to be fair, I feel like what's good also about the app is that I don't have any algorithm, black box, whatever that I thought that I could introduce that could learn from Amazon. Because in the end, Amazon ads just changes so much itself that I think the best solution is honestly to just set up logical rules that work based on your revenue or based on your cost per unit. This way, you don't mess things up on top of how much things are changing on Amazon ads.
What kind of logical rules are you talking about? Like, is it you want to stay within a certain spend for certain keywords, or is it other aspects you're using?
They are highly customizable. You could do whatever you wanted to, right? But we do offer a set of rules that are already there, and they're based on how much you're earning versus how much you're spending. So we have a section where you tell us, okay, for these books that we're advertising in this group of campaigns, how much you're making, right? Like, what's your net royalty rate, the money that you're making from your sales. And then if you're advertising book one, you could also add the data from your series, if you have a series, and then we get factors that let us know, okay, how many more times will your revenue grow after read-through from this book one? And then this way, we already, know how much you will be earning, how much you estimate to earn. And so our rules are based off of this ultimate metric that we call ACOR, which is the cost of the royalties of the actual revenue that you make instead of ACOS, which is very basic. And so if it's 100%, then we know you're breaking even. And generally, with Amazon ads, breaking even is good because it forms a snowball effect in which the rest of your organic sales should be growing, especially knowing that books, well, they are cheap products. So in the end, cost per click is kind of high to look for having a huge profit just on the ads, right? Obviously, you want to have a profit, but just on the ads, it focuses on breaking even. And so the rules are based on that. They work simultaneously. These are just a quick set of rules that we give you if you want to use them. And they aim for breaking even just to make sure that your ads are paying for themselves.
And so then after that, they just anything else, because they will continue to ideally generate stuff, and the algorithm for Amazon will hopefully push it for you if it does like it's supposed to. So I think that's a good idea, because I think a lot of people who start off, especially these emerging authors who want to jump into ads, don't really know and don't think about anything beyond, I'm just trying to sell book one. And you look like you're trying to plan out the whole series. So
So at the beginning, and I can kind of talk about this a little bit because I've used the software, and I'm a big fan of the software. So it's relatively easy to get started. There's a bunch of stuff you've got in there, like all those rules and the metrics and stuff. Basically, if you just input all your books and it's all laid out what you have to put in there, it's pretty simple stuff that you can pull from your dashboard, and then you set it up, and then it doesn't build the ads, right? You still, as the individual, you still build the ads that you want. But what it does is monitor the ads, keep them within a certain playing field, right? It makes adjustments to those bids. Yeah. So one of the things that I found that was brilliant about it is you could try things. So if you weren't sure, if you're like, okay, I think I want to target this author, but I'm not sure, you could bung a bunch of ads in there and set them at a reasonable bid and then let it go for a week. It will stop it going off the rails. So you can try so much more stuff without feeling like you have to go back into your ads dashboard every 5 minutes and make sure nothing's, spending you out of existence.
Screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah, which for me was also another huge problem. Like imagine like you're just doing bid changes fast manually, and then instead of putting 0.40, you put $4. And then you miss it.
I did a 400 one time, but that was a whole other ballgame. So I did catch it, but I was like,
that would have hurt. Yeah, but thank God that you caught it in time. But yeah, like that was horrific for me. Like that, having to have that in my mind all the time. Like, oh my God, did I put it right? Did I not? Or maybe like see a spike in the ad spend and whatnot. That was a huge responsibility. So yeah, for me, that's also another thing. Yeah, it gives you like rails. Also, you can also introduce how high you want to bid, so that you don't go beyond that. No matter how good a target is, you can always set a limit.
And how often does it change the bids for you?
You can choose the frequency. We have different sets of rules. So while you have little data, less than 20 clicks, for example, we do perform weekly changes, and there are small changes because we don't have enough data yet. And also lowering the bids, you shouldn't be lowering the bids when you're still gathering data. So we wait a bit for that. But once you hit that 20 click threshold, that's when we're like, okay, if you don't have any reads or you don't have any orders, then we apply this daily. We pause the target. And you could increase this amount of clicks, right? Maybe you want to wait for longer because you have more budget to spare. And it's true that sometimes Amazon, suddenly after you've paused the target, you had a sale 2 days ago, or things like that. We do have rules, though. We added this afterwards to enable back past targets if they showed that they could bring in royalties after they were paused, because this happens.
That's great.
Yeah. And then, and this works daily, because obviously you don't need to wait for longer. If you see that 20 clicks afterwards, you're not getting any sales, why wait for longer? If you have an enable rule that checks if you're receiving royalties afterwards. And then after that 20 clicks threshold, we also search for your breaking even bid, which is, how much you're spending or how much you're earning. And then we divide it into clicks so as to know, okay, this is how much you should really be paying for your target. And this, you could apply weekly if you want to be very in control of things and just make sure that it's very controlled, that you don't spend more money than you need to. I did change it in the template to weekly because sometimes Amazon does take, like what I've noticed, is that sometimes it can take a couple of days between it actually feels that change in the bid. So I prefer to leave some space. If you're receiving a ton of data, if you're spending a lot of money every day, then maybe the daily solution is actually better for you. So yeah, you could choose the frequency.
Yeah, I use weekly, and I thought it was a good balance. Nothing goes too AWOL on you over a week, and it gives it a chance to really see what's going on.
That makes sense. So, like, who would you say this tool is really suited for? Is this for more experienced authors, or can like somebody who's only got one or two books use it? Is it worthwhile at that point to jump into it?
I would say that you'd ideally need to have used Amazon ads previously to understand a little bit of it, because otherwise you're expecting the tool to do things and to do magic for you, and it doesn't do magic. I mean, it's like a robot, really. It's just
could you find one that would do magic for me? Because that'd be awesome.
Exactly. No, because some people come.
I was gonna say, a lot of people do expect it like that magic kind of, this is the magic button, and it's not really that. So
They come and they've created 1,000 different campaigns with 1,000 different keywords, and they're not spending money. And then it's like, oh, can you tool help me? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, obviously, like the tool would help those that have a lot of campaigns and that have budget to spend. That's the best, right? Because you can scale up and it can actually work with that money. However, when you have a ton of campaigns with a ton of keywords and you're not spending, it's very likely that you won't have any control eventually when the ad spend goes up, because you have too many campaigns, too many keywords. The ad spend will need to go up because you need data. The app needs data to know the bids that will work for you. And if this brings another problem. How your campaigns are structured, how much you know of Amazon ads. You don't need to know a lot, but you need to know the basics to know that you need data in order for something like this to work.
I don't know a lot at all, so I'm perfect for that. Like about anything, not just Amazon ads. I'm pretty much dumb all the way around. So,
well, this is where Sarah's next step comes into it, because you also offer author services to actually manage Amazon accounts, yeah?
Yeah. And I mean, and also even for those that subscribe, I do help at the beginning to like orient them a little bit into, okay, what would be the best structure that will help you with this? And, even with the subscriptions, we also have like monthly reviews just to make sure that we're going on the right track. But yeah, aside from that, then yeah, I do also manage for other authors using the software as well. And yeah, in the end, I guess the way to go about Amazon ads is really as simple as possible, because it's a tool that's complex and it has a complex algorithm. So you don't want to lose your mind over it, to be fair. You just want to have a few points that are clear in your head regarding the structure of your ads and what works for you.
I got to add this point here. I was blown away with your customer service. So when I first got it, I was pain in the ass. But Sarah was on a Zoom call.
That seems so unusual to me.
I know.
Nick, you're a delight. Everybody, it says Nick is a delight. He's always, which you are.
He's not a pain in the ass at all.
He's not a pain in the ass at all.
Said no one ever. But I was super impressed. It was...
Nick, I love you.
Yeah, I know. So you jump on a Zoom call and help me set up everything initially. If any questions, you were there on email, and you offer that once a month, kind of 30-minute Zoom call to help people with their ads and bits and pieces, just as part of the subscription, which is crazy good value. I was really impressed.
It depends on the plan, obviously, but in the end, once it's set up correctly, even the next month, if we can review it and we see that it's going right, honestly, most people just don't need that much more anymore, because it's just a matter of setting up the right ads and then just making sure the rules work for you, which obviously at the beginning, it may require some time, because it's like, okay, then I need to do some research about this kind of target that worked for me. And then I need to see how the rules are working for me. And if I prefer to move a little bit the thresholds, because perhaps it works for me to just wait a bit longer before I introduce the breaking even rule. It requires some work, but honestly, it's very little work compared to the amount of work that it takes off of your hands on a daily basis, and also the peace of mind that it allows you to have.
I like the peace of mind part. That'd be nice. So what is with the software, what is one of the features that are probably the most underutilized but authors should be looking at?
The bidding history, actually. I would say the bidding history, because, the bidding history in the end, as of now, before it only showed the last 3 executions that we had for the bids. And it showed, okay, this is the data that we took, and this is the final bid that we got, so that you understood why we're making these changes. And now you can go back to the last 30 days and see all the executions in the last 30 days to see, okay, so what happened here? Why did this campaign changed in the way it did? And you can go there and check it. But to actually, say something also in favor of the users, we are making it more visual, because we understand that after talking to some users, and also, I built it because I'm very much into it every day, but it's not the same as someone that is not used to this. It needs to be a bit more visual. So we're working on it just to make sure that people know that it's there. And we're also, first of all, we're beautifying it, and then we'll put it in a homepage so that people know this is the changes that the app is, doing, so that, this is the value that you're getting. Because sometimes they're like, oh, but the ad spend is going down. And it's like, well, if the ad spend is going down and then I have to go in and show them, and it's because the return that you were getting was not great. So usually what happens is when the return that you're getting is not great, and the bids are going to go down. And if they go down, your ad spend is just going to go down. So maybe your targets initially were not great, or maybe it's just, it just wasn't working.
That's probably the biggest thing that I saw in using BooksFlyer is it allowed you to raise the efficiency. So you would do some spend, it would get some data, it would trim it down, and now the ads that you had going were working way better, way more efficient because you weren't overspending on bids, but your overall spend went down. So then you went in, made new ads, and your spend went back up again. It would trim them back down, and then slowly, brick by brick, you would be able to scale up a little bit, but keep the efficiency where it needed to be. That was the biggest gain I found with it, with way less work, with way less monitoring and changing, because it was doing it all for you.
So then here's the real question. I'm sure this is what everybody's chomping at the bit for, but what's the subscription cost? Is it subscription based? Is it a one-time cost? Do I have to give you my firstborn? Because I really don't mind. For not doing Amazon ads, I would give up one of my kids. So,
you've got 3, so you could
they're
give
all
away
adults.
one.
They probably
barely
would not
notice
appreciate it, but so.
Oh, maybe, we could trade. No, but no. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with a dog right now. I'm not sure I want kids anymore. Just seeing how my friends are beginning to have kids, and I'm like, I don't think I would ever trade for that.
You have a dog and Ricardo, so that's 2 children you're looking after.
True.
That is fair. Like, I always love people who are like, I thought about that, but a dog would be better. And Nick's over here going, but a gerbil, or maybe I could just get a pet rock. So
rabbit. We had rabbits. We had house rabbits when we weren't moving around everywhere. They were brilliant.
But then they poop everywhere, no? Because you can let them out and they're just like...
No, they would live in the house and they were litter box trained. They're like a cat.
Yeah,
They'll go use the litter box.
My wife had rabbits as a kid, and which is why she wouldn't let me raise rabbits, because she said no. I didn't want pet rabbits. I wanted some meat rabbits, and she said no, because she's like, that's like having it's like killing your kitten or something like that.
Exactly. So, Doug killed Thumper. So, meanwhile, is it subscription based or?
We got all the way around there.
It's 2 rabbits per. No, like 2
rabbits.
Oh, brilliant.
So it is ad spend based. So depending on how much you spend, then you have a price. It's subscription based. So we begin with, a lot of people just don't need to spend more than $750 a month. So that's like $39 per month. And then it increases. So it has 4 different plans, 3 that are fixed price up to $5,000 per month. And that's $199 if you get to that. And then if you move past that, and that's $249 plus the 2% fee on, whatever on top of $5,000, I think, or $5,000 per month that you spend above $5,000, correct?
Above 5,000. Yeah. Incredibly reasonable. It's incredibly reasonable. Yeah. It's basically doing 50% of what an ad manager does. So it's not making the decisions on the ads up front, but you get to speak to Sarah every once in a while and get a few tips and insider information. So I think it's incredible value.
That's very good. And that's well worth it. So
let's talk about Amazon ads in general a little bit. So they're getting much easier, right?
Yeah. It's just beautiful. Every time I see it at the dashboard, and then I see, this new feature showed up and no one told us about it. And I got this year has been a ton of different features that they just added without any prior notification. Yeah,
there are a lot of things they're trying. The whole ranking thing's been a disaster, which is not helping anybody.
The ranking is not helping. Then the portfolios, they began to just put them to share the unspent budget. So suddenly you would see some campaign just go AWOL and you didn't know why. And it's because they didn't even show that they were doing this in the back end until later in time. I actually opened up tickets saying, why is this campaign spending 100% on top of the ad spend when my settings are set to not spend more than 20% of 25% of the unspent budget. And they were like, oh yeah, we're looking at it. And Amazon,
we're looking at it. Yes.
And every month we're looking at it. And then I figured out eventually after 6 months, oh, now I see that you do have a toggle that says, share unspent budget with other campaigns. I was like, okay, yeah. So even your support wasn't able to respond that.
They learned that from Facebook ads. So cost per clicks is in general, obviously they're not going down. How much have they risen, do you think, in the last 12 to 24 months?
It depends, though. It depends a lot on whether it's campaigns that you've already had enabled for a while and new campaigns. With new campaigns, especially with ASINs, for whatever reason, I'm seeing that they require higher and higher bids. However, for some genres like thrillers, ASINs are pretty good. ASINs tend to convert well. But I do see that sometimes it's just hard to get the ad spend to run, even though, you're going to the, like, I never use the suggested bids, but, you have to use some reference when you're up to support saying, hey, why is this campaign not spending? And you have to say, look at the suggested bid and look at my bid. Like, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. And so, yeah, in this case, you can see actually, the tendency is the cost per click begins to go up and up and up. For romance, I would say it's lower, though, than for thrillers, the cost per click.
Of course it is.
But still, it's still
is.
Increasing. Yeah.
Romance people out there.
Yeah.
They don't even need to advertise there, but they just write romances and bam, they put them out there. We thriller people, we got to work hard for our money. So
apparently, yeah. And I don't know why, because competition, it's still like pretty big. I mean, obviously, yeah, romance is very competitive, but because it's very competitive and it has so many books, you would think that it would be more expensive for ASINs. It's not, at least from what I'm seeing, it's not. It depends on the romance. Romantic comedy, for example, it seems to be cheaper than contemporary romance.
Okay, one more Amazon question and then we'll get this wrapped up. But and let you go. Auto ads. Do you believe in running auto ads?
I believe in running auto ads once you have a minimum amount of sales or you have a minimum ranking, 10,000, for example, or something like that. Because, well, first of all, the auto ads, you would ideally negativize your own sub-terms if you don't want them to steer towards your own terms. If you want to, you can also do that, it's completely okay. It can also feed itself. But you cannot choose when it will go to self and when it will not go to self. So that's the problem with it. You cannot really balance it out. However, with authors and ASINs and categories even, in the end, you're feeding Amazon the kind of targets that work for you, that are similar to you. And so this provides the basis for Amazon to work. And then adding on top of that afterward, the auto campaign has worked better for me than beginning with an auto campaign and just leaving that.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people start with an auto to get keyword, to get target, to see what works, but it's all chicken and egg, right? I mean, you've just got to get data. So however you do it, you've got to get data coming back at you.
If you don't have a lot of sales, honestly, auto, you can be lucky. Like, I don't want to, of course, like in the end, you need to test. But if you don't have a lot of sales, auto is not the best way to push anything, to push data. It's just better to force Amazon to say, these are my competitors. Or, if your competitors are very niche, then you can go wider to try to get it to spend, because sometimes when it's very niche, you will not spend. But then at least you're forcing Amazon towards, or Amazon's algorithm in the ads to say, okay, this is what seems to work. And actually you can see the auto can change based on that and can take on that.
Yeah, I found my auto ads took a while because I did run them from early on, and they took a while. And then once I did get some decent level sales, they started being one of the best ads I ever ran most months. And then they'll tank for a month and then have a crappy month.
That's also something that happens with auto. Sometimes something just tickles them off, like just does something that annoys them for whatever reason, even though the bids are still the same, everything is still the same, and suddenly, poof. It's not like author or ASINs where you can just add new authors or new ASINs to try to refresh it. No, you cannot do anything because it's just that auto ad. And
sometimes it gets a sale based on something that has nothing to do with your book. And so somebody just happened to be on there, looked at something that was nothing to do with you, and then somehow clicked on an ad for you that was, it triggered the auto. And next minute it's serving ads to Highland romance. You're trying to sell a thriller book, and it just tanks the edge. So you have to go in there and negative that target to correct it.
And sometimes when you negative it, then it affects the ad spend of the campaign. And then it just goes down. So you're like, oh, but I had to negativize it because it was not giving me good things. So it's like hard when it goes great.
It feels very much like I'm carrying, and when I'm doing Amazon ads, I feel like I'm carrying a tray full of champagne glasses stacked up. And like anything I do is going to upset that cart, and I got to restack them and start all over. And so,
and sweep up a bunch of glass,
and cut myself in the process, and that kind of thing. So, spill a bunch of champagne. It's very disheartening sometimes.
That's why you get someone like Sarah, who's really good at carrying trays of champagne glasses.
Yeah, sometimes.
Well, what's the web address where listeners can find BooksFlyer?
BooksFlyer.com. So books in plural, flyer, to like make your book fly.
Great. We'll put it in the show notes. And thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. This has been a delight. It's always fun chatting with you. And keep up the good work with BooksFlyer. And a big thank you to our Patreon supporters who support the show. Go to patreon.com/The Two Authors Podcast, and you'll get lots of fun extras and bits and pieces. And for about the price of a coffee a month, you can support the show if you feel we bring some value to you. Always thank you to Vellum. You missed it this year because you weren't at NINC, because you blew us off. You blew off NINC to go to some friend's wedding, something.
Such a lame thing.
No. You would have seen these. We had Brad from Vellum wearing one of the podcast shirts at the Mosh thing. Yeah, it was totally cool. Yeah.
I have to have one of those T-shirts.
Uh-oh. Now we got to send one to Spain. You got it.
Send one to Spain. Well, you go. No, for sure. We need to get her one. So.
Yeah. When's the next conference you're going to? Are you going to one?
I think I was going to go to the London one. I have to see, because when they said, yeah.
London. We're thinking about going there in June. Yep. We'll bring you a shirt to London. Perfect. All right. We'll be back next week with a new episode of the Two Authors Podcast. And until next time, be cool to each other.
Fair winds and following seas.
You've been listening to the Two Authors Podcast with Nicholas Harvey and Douglas Pratt. Subscribe on your favorite platform for new shows coming every week.